I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Right, President Everard.
Here.
Vice President Wazorek.
Here.
Secretary Zeller. Here. Treasurer Zimmerman is absent. Trustee Brady will be here, and Trustee Leahy.
Yes, sir.
And Trustee Zerk is absent.
All right, we have a quorum?
We have a quorum?
Good deal. All right. Before we get into the meat of the meeting here, just want to say we've got a action-packed agenda here. I think this is probably the most epic meeting we've had in years. There's a lot of ground to cover. So first of all, thank you for all the guests we have here this evening. And I ask all the presenters to be expeditious because we've taken 2 meetings, put it into one, and loaded the agenda. So with some really big and some big decisions to be made tonight, a lot of important information. So that we'll get started and we'll ask Trustee Leahy to lead the conservation.
Hey, to foster a conservation ethic among McHenry County citizens, helping all of us, regardless of the basis for our interest in nature, to develop a greater awareness of our role in and responsibility for the total community of life. A conservation ethic asks us to assume a moral duty to become educated about conservation issues and then act on that information. A conservation ethic is an attitude that recognizes the importance of preserving the natural heritage of the county's open space. To acquire, this is goal 2, to acquire and maintain other wildland, scenic areas, and open spaces for conservation purposes and for educational and recreation.
Mr. President Resort.
5.0, reading of the Conservation Service Pledge. We pledge to make a difference by standing up for our water, wildlife, and way of life in McHenry County. Our quality of life in McHenry County depends on healthy and sustainable natural resources, thoughtfully developed cities and towns, a strong economy, and beautiful outdoor places to explore, discover, and recreate. Goal number 9, we will provide outdoor places to reflect, play, interact with family, friends, and community.
Thank you. And Secretary Zeller.
6.0, Land Acknowledgement Statement. To many indigenous groups and tribal nations, including the Ho-Chunk, Kickapoo, Lakota, Dakota, Mascoutin, Miami, Peoria, Potawatomi, Sauk, and Meskwaki, McHenry County is part of their traditional homeland. We invite you to join us in offering respect to the indigenous peoples living here today and their ancestor stewardship of the land. Together we celebrate these special places, seek to learn and honor the history of those who came before us, and strive to forge meaningful relationships with indigenous communities to deepen our collective connection to the land.
Well, thank you. All right, everyone's had a chance to look at the agenda. I'll ask, is there any item? Hey, hope you didn't get any rules in here. Thanks, Heather. We know it's been a rough day for you, so appreciate you being here.
Made it.
Anything on the agenda that anyone wants to withhold? If not, agenda is adopted. Yes,
I need a motion and a second.
oh, we need a motion for that.
And I'll second. I made the motion.
You move.
I'll
Okay.
second.
Now we got it. All right.
You know, that's my first motion.
All right.
Congratulations.
It's nothing.
Trustee Leahy.
Yes.
Vice President Wazorek.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Secretary Zeller.
Yes.
President Everard.
Yes. All right. On to the presentations. Parade Trail Wayfinding. Peter.
All right, we're gonna have Amy Peters and Sarah Rummel come up and introduce Guide Studio here. And take it away here. Well, now, is it in here? Not sure enough. Where did it go? It's not here. Hold on a second. I'm gonna go to,
From there.
as I pulled up an old presentations. Hurts. We're looking for the presentations and it's not.
See, I see.
Do you see it in yours?
Did you bring any of the signs with you?
Love it.
Wait, it's not, I opened up this one here,
Go to the presentation.
right? That's the one I was in. It's not there. So
So
we're gonna go here.
do you want me to move this one into another folder and see if it works for you? Because
I'll just do right here. Gonna go, I'm gonna put it up on the screen and you guys can go with it here.
Well, there you go. Perfect. Yeah, that's weird. Don't I? Yours
Is it native to just yours file?
No, that's
It's
Dropbox. It's your Dropbox folder. It may not have
Synced.
It's okay. Good evening. We are joined tonight by Dave Corso and Molly Menninger of Guide Studio Inc., who serve as brand and wayfinding designers and have been working closely with the district on the development of the Prairie Trail wayfinding. Amy and I have spent the past 2 days in field with Dave and Molly, reviewing sign programming and assessing key locations. We actually just got here about an hour ago. So, right, that's why we look maybe a little bit disheveled. At this time, I'll turn the floor over to Dan and Molly. They'll present an update on progress to date. They'll highlight some key accomplishments and then outline the next steps in the process. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dave Corso. It's great to see each of you. So I'll just dive right in. I know we've got a lot to go over today. So, as a refresher and reminder of why we're all here, we wanted to share the past few months in our journey and how we got here. We have presented sketches, gone through various rounds of signage concepts. I know last time y'all heard from us, we presented our branding for the Prairie Trail back in November. Evan and Gina did. And now we're here to present to you our signage solutions that carry that brand cohesively throughout the trail. There are 4 main points that we want to highlight, as well as some guiding principles, and then Molly will go into the sign types and our thinking behind all that. First is overall strengthening our brand for the Prairie Trail identity overall. We've had participants throughout our research and our stakeholder committee meetings share that overall there could be improvement throughout the relationship of the identity on Prairie Trail. So we're going to sweep everything into a pile and have a cohesive system through the signage. And that is to clarify the brand using logo brand hierarchy. So in instances where the brand is sharing identities, we have certain sign types for that. And then also we want to refine and share the visual identity of the brand in a way that is friendly, cohesive, and warm throughout the trail. And then we have our guiding principles here too. So overall, the signage family is meant to connect people to the trail towns in our neighborhoods. Wayfinding should highlight nearby towns, districts, and central gathering points that serve as the natural anchors for orientation. And then secondly, elevate civic and cultural destinations. So our signs should guide users to civic institutions, cultural venues that distribute to community identity and public life. Thirdly, the signs will link to parks, trails, and networks to prioritize those connections and foster a sense of community. We're also ensuring access to mobility and essential services, making sure that the trail is continued to be safe and supportive in a practical way. And then also, again, reinforcing that trail identity through those destinations as well.
Day. Hi, I'm Molly Meininger. So with what Day was talking about, with our strategy on designing for the Prairie Trail, we have developed a cohesive sign family for each of these signs pair with our branding that we have developed, but they all have their own distinct, unique purpose and function on the trail and the trail users' journey as they are confidently guiding themselves through the trail and also those key destinations found along the trail. So this is our overall sign family. There is also a second page, but as you can see, we have not only some identification signs such as a parking lot ID, but a trailhead ID, and then a smaller version, as well as some trailblazers and directional signage that is being used to help guide folks to the Prairie Trail from within towns, as well as guiding folks to those key destinations found through on the trail, as well as some gateway opportunities, town boundary markers, mile markers, and some trail destination IDs. So we'll dive into each of these time types specifically and kind of dive into the hierarchy and the purpose behind each of them. But today and yesterday, Day and I and Amy, our goal was taking these signs that we have designed and we went on the trail itself and actually looked and made sure that there were any size requirements of the signs that didn't fit, or there were any additional messages that needed to be included on these signs. We were just doing a lot of field verification. And so as you can see, in the next round, we'll take a lot of that information we've uncovered and apply it to these sign types. Apologies. And find the mouse.
So it, bottom's not gonna work. She said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry. No, it's all good. And then these are a few more of those sign types from the overall family. So we have some regulatory signs as we can see throughout the trail. We also have established a system for our colors that we are using and having a clear direction on where to apply that red color. So these are to help with clarification as you're on the trail to know what the function of each of these signs is. And then as well as looking at opportunities for brand elements. So we have options for the bridge, as well as bringing in some banners, brand beacons, and some decorative crosswalks that we have been locating throughout the trail. So with that, I am going to go over some of these sign types and more of their anatomy individually. So first, we're going to look at the parking lot ID. So these will be located strategically at MCCD owned trailheads where folks can park their cars safely and then enter onto the trail from those access points. So for instance, at Hillside Road, which is where we were today, this would be located to direct vehicular drivers to know that they can safely park here before they are guided onto the trail. This will be double-sided, so it will be able to be seen from both sides of the road. And then not only do we want to guide people to those parking lots safely, but we also want to trailblaze people to the trail from those offshoots, whether you be in the McHenry County Riverwalk and you want to be able to access the Prairie Trail. The idea is you can use this badge that ties into the overall brand and use these arrowheads to safely indicate to users that they can take this path from town onto the Prairie Trail. We are showing opportunities to put these on existing poles to help with cost, as well as opportunities to put these on new posts, whether they be single post or double post. We have also designed trailheads that can be that will be located at strategic points along the trail where people are going to learn about the trail rules, so making sure people are staying cordial on their approach of how they are interacting with the trail, as well as the opportunity for a changeable map kiosk that you can see on the right side of the trail rules. And then we have a unique portion of this trail is the opportunity to include these modular pucks. As you can see, these would be showing what is allowed uses for the trail. So we have the bike, we have the hiker and walker, as well as horse. And this is due to the fact that in different portions of the trail, there are different user groups that are allowed, such as like snowmobiles, horseback riders. So this is to help delineate at that trailhead what's allowed to be used and what isn't. Another thing I want to highlight that I should have highlighted a little bit earlier, but in terms of the hierarchy of the actual sign anatomy, we talked about co-branding. We do want to highlight that we have included the McHenry County Conservation District's lower logo in the lower right corner. This is to let folks know that the trail is operated by the Conservation District, and keeping that within the hierarchy of the sign. These are also going to be located and included in the parking lot signs as well. And then one key opportunity along the trail is there are a lot of destinations that you can access through the trail. A lot of folks will use the trail on their lunch break to go from one part of town to another to go to their favorite restaurant or go visit a friend. And so we wanted to be able to help promote and amplify the amazing amenities and destinations found along the trail with these directionals. So these are located at strategic locations where folks can jump off the trail easily and easily get to either the Riverwalk district or access to like a metro station, as well as opportunities for singular messages for trailblazing, so folks can easily get to, for instance, downtown Algonquin. Similarly, we have some directional trailblazers, so these would be located at some of those onshoots, such as in Crystal Lake, where within a neighborhood you can easily access the trail. But it's to help orient you, to let you know if you're going this way, you're going north, this way, you're going south. It's just to make it so they feel more confident in their decision as they are interacting with the trail. And then, well, apologies. The type, it's not how it should be, but on the town boundary markers, we have developed a sign that will go on trail to indicate to users when they have crossed a township. For instance, at Genoa Lake and Richmond, we will have a town boundary marker letting people know that they are now entering one place and leaving the other, to help build connection and confidence on where you are on the trail. We've also included informational kiosks in places of rest to have the opportunity to have changeable inserts for the map or pamphlets that can be updated throughout the trail. And then additionally, one thing we noted back when we did an audit was the opportunity to create more confidence within the mile markers for users. So creating a simple mile marker that could be placed strategically along the trail, so folks are able to know where they are in relative location. And then something that's unique about the trail is the amenities found on the trail, such as the fix-it stations. And it's very important for bikers to be able to know when they can pull off and change a tire. So having that language found on a sign that can be easily seen and used on the trail, as well as some of these destinational trail IDs that are for users that are traveling the trail. And for instance, in North Branch at the north part of the trail, letting them know what they're crossing on these beautiful conservation areas. Additionally, thinking about how we can continue this branding throughout the trail, there are facility IDs that are being used to house either vehicles, bikes, and equipment for folks as they use the trail. So being able to easily identify those buildings for those user groups, but still keeping it consistent within the entire system. And then we're showing some options for how we could engage some of the bridges found throughout the trail. Right now we have the bike route signs with the McHenry County logo. So looking at replacing those and having the opportunity to bring in the badge element, something that's very fun and very unique about this is, if you have noticed throughout the sign system, we are using this crisscross bar element with the core 10 steel that ties into the bridges found throughout Prairie Trail. So this is an existing structure, but that cross element and that color of the bridge ties into the rest of the sign family. So it's a nice little nod to one another. And then just showing some options of how we could also use this option for the McHenry County logo. So thinking through multiple solutions of how this could start to apply in this one location. Additionally, something we have been looking at is these gateways. So this is found at where the trail ends and starts, and also in conjunction of where the trail may jog. Actually, today while we were on the trail, we were helping identify locations of where the trail gateway could be strategically located. But as you can see, it takes homage from the trail, the railroad crossing sign. So taking that arm and subtly nodding to that rails to trails element, but just for that structural element and hanging down our badge for the Prairie Trail. And then showing on the backhand side, the opportunity to bring in the McHenry County logo. And then as you can see, we put in some locations where we can start to retrofit, such as in Algonquin, some of these existing masonry structures to help amplify the existing conditions. And then something we've been looking at is the regulatory signs. So having opportunity for some messaging signs, as well as engaging with the street crossings, where you can start to bring in those brand colors for the street names, with the option of having a topper with the badge, as well as creating consistency within the regulatory signs with the post that the signs can be mounted on. Regulatory signs are pretty not restricted, standardized in terms of what their design could be, but there's a way to still tie that in with the entire sign family that they are attached to. And then some opportunities for some fun placemaking elements are these brand beacons. So there are certain areas along the trail where it may go off-road or the trail jogs, and to help create confidence within the user to let them know that they are, yes, still on the Prairie Trail, you're going the right way, placing these brand beacons along the path to help guide them to the next section of their journey. And then in place of where we cannot have the real estate for the brand beacons, thinking about the opportunity to put banner systems that could be on existing utility poles that, again, create that continuous sequence for folks to know that they are on the right path and they are going to the right place. But it also helps amplifies the brand of Prairie Trail. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've been starting to look at how this actually looks in the field. So these are some examples of what the parking lot IDs can start to look like. So for instance, at Glacial Park, we're showing how this could start to be in front of the parking lot, but also an opportunity to incorporate that banner system on the utility poles all the way down to the visitor centers by Glacial Park. So it's engaging both elements. And then, for instance, this is one of our more challenging locations where the trail jogs, but you have opportunities to create confidence within a user by using those directional trailblazers to let them know which way is north, which way is south, as well as letting folks know with our directionals, yes, the trail continues this way with our arrows, and bringing in those brand beacons that could continue along that right side to let folks know that you need to continue down this road, with the crosswalk, decorative crosswalk guiding you down to Whispering Oaks. And then some other opportunities we've looked at was where the Prairie Trail and the Fox River Trail intersect, opportunity to make this a welcoming experience with the trail gateway. Something that was pleasant while we were on our trail visit today was we went to this location and we identified that we could possibly incorporate as well those brand beacons along the side to replace the fencing. So those were some of those instances where being out in the field and being able to see the conditions of the site really helpful within programming the sign program. And then, for instance, within our town boundary markers, so this would be located along the trail to let folks know that they are now entering Wisconsin and those different areas. Okay.
Right.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, good work. So a couple questions, when will the signs go up? And,
So that's a great question. So going over implementation, there are different ways that you can start to implement the sign program. It's very rare that a client goes and implements an entire program all at once. Typically, strategically, you start with certain signs and their need and their priority. So something that we did today while we were on the trail was actually identifying what were our top priorities and also what's easier to install right away. So for instance, those mile markers would be easier to program and install right away and have a major impact for the user groups, which also leads to excitement for folks on the trail because they start to see some signs and then they want to see more. But in terms of timing of when this starts to get installed, that's something in talks with Sarah and Amy in terms of what that starts to look like. But we are looking at how do we phase that in so it's done thoughtfully and efficiently.
Just one, I'm sorry, go ahead, Nora.
No, about the polls using YouTube. I mean, you're gonna need a license agreement, utilities, or, I mean, is that being factored into all of this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So besides our contract, implementation also includes a contract with signage fabricator who would pull permits and have those licenses accounted for before even thinking about taking up anything. Yeah, absolutely. It's taken care of.
And they would call OOPS and all of those respective services.
And there would be another round of field verification as well. So that would be like triple times checking.
And if I can jump in, our stakeholder group and our track group, the nice thing is that we have relationships with all of those different municipalities. So again, that's sort of something that, Sarah and I can start working on while they're doing some of the other things.
Then on the usage sign with the bicycle, does that include both regular bikes, e-bikes, and do we know what the speed limit is?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the icon itself is all encompassing for e-bikes, but adjacent to that, we have our trail rules, which goes more into the language of e-bikes and starts to dive further into what their allowed uses are. And we are in works with confirming what those rules are with Sarah and Amy, as well as their departments to make sure that they align with the correct miles per hour and everything.
I have one comment. I was thinking about a strategic planning session that we had. Don't know when at this point with Michelle. And we were asked, do you think that people know what the McHenry County Conservation District is? And there were sort of mixed opinions about that. And so I just bring that up because as someone who's newer to the county, I think the Prairie Trail branding is really strong. I would just encourage you all to find as many ways to also have the McHenry County Conservation District. It's such an incredible asset, the Prairie Trail, and I think one that you want to make sure you're hanging the MCCD hat on as much as possible. So that's just one observation that I'm sure you all are thinking about, but just something that I think about as someone who's newer to the county.
Anything else? Nice work. Nice week. Hunting program. Right? Sorry?
It's not gonna until it stinks, it's not synced, so I can read to.
Until programs.
First on the-
I'm going by the agenda.
Just talk or slide. Thank you. There's a lot of pictures in some of these slides, so it's
Where we're pulling those up, coming back next month and talk about the bike. We've been waiting to, we understood you gave a presentation somewhere and we just got all kinds of accolades for it, so we want to hear it too.
I will be happy to update you. It's been a while since I've come to the board meeting to talk about the bicycles.
What was the presentation that you gave?
I was at the IPRA, Soaring to New Heights Conference in Chicago.
something's going on. It's really slow tonight.
I think it was 2 years ago, you and I got to walk together with the group as we were going out. And it was just fascinating to walk with her. She's pointing out all the different things that we're seeing on the way walking out there. So,
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I knew you had been out there and I couldn't remember when that was, but I did get to fly over in the helicopter yesterday and check on the show.
But if you need a trustee to go along with.
Yeah. Who's next? Who's next?
Good idea.
I hope you didn't count me as a deer because I was out at.
Hope I didn't. Oh, were you at Pleasant Valley? You did see some hikers?
Coral. I was at
Coral,
Coral.
yes. We did see lots of hikers and dog walkers out on the trail yesterday.
No, I was in the woods scooting stuff.
Gotcha.
Christy's gonna try to get it up here because we're having difficulty for some reason. And
Evan's good. That's kind of important.
Evan could go first if we want to do that one while we're working on the other.
Yeah, that's not. Okay. Well, let me
No, you're
introduce
right.
Evan. So,
I just saw the slide.
Evan Uwertowski is a district hunter and Eagle Scout with Troop 165 who completed his Eagle project for the district last summer, somewhere in there. And he is here tonight to talk about that project.
Great.
Awesome.
Welcome, Evan. That's a lot of badges.
Wow.
Thank you guys for having me tonight. So I'm Evan Uwertowski from Troop 165. Scout projects.
It's still. Oh, two.
Here, do you want me to share?
Right, you just share and take it because.
While they're pulling that slide up, I happened to have heard a statistic one time that of all the different groups of people in the world, Eagle Scouts have the lowest murder rate of any group. Got that going. Wow. Sure.
You want to share here.
I give It's an indication that they're really good groups.
And I probably need to step down.
I think the greatest concentration of Eagle Scouts are in NASA and the astronaut camps too, sorry.
Oh, wow.
Get to your presentation. Sorry. There we go.
Presentation.
Yep.
You're good.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Evan. What-
Okay, this is because it's showing my screen there, so
Okay.
That's what's.
Okay.
you're good.
Right.
I thought, is that Matt? Sorry, I have to interrupt this. Matthew?
Yes.
I thought it was you. Matthew was on the board.
I was much thinner and I had hair then.
It's not gonna show up in here. It's gonna show up on the screen, but it's not showing up on. You're in your screen?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on my screen.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm seeing it on,
It's on there, but it's not showing up here, so,
so that's because that's you.
no, I know that's me.
Okay.
This will stop. Sharon, do you want to continue? No, I don't. I think your system is ready for spring break.
Yeah.
Her slides are her Dropbox is sync.
And it's, I would have to start down, shut up, and, shut it down and start back up again. Hold on.
So.
There we go. Okay, thank you.
Oh, nice.
Mass.
Yeah, but what year?
Apology. Here, we're good.
Alright, so why I picked McHenry County Conservation District as my beneficiary. I've been in the hunting program since I was 9 years old. I harvested my first deer on conservation property. I've also harvested my first duck on the property where I built my bridge. I've also harvested my first turkey on conservation land as well. I've also spent a lot of time with my family and friends on conservation district making memories. So that's the reason why I wanted to pick because it's my beneficiary. All right,
It's a little slow.
and here's some pictures of me enjoying my time on conservation district property, hunting, just enjoying the outdoors. How I picked my project. My project is a bridge over a creek on Hebron Peatlands. I walked this bridge many times to go duck hunting. I walked this bridge to I harvested my first duck as well. The bridge was in need of a little bit of repair. The bridge boards were starting to curl up on the edges, and also there's a couple boards that were rotting. And I thought of a better design that was safer. I wanted runners along the sides, so when there's dew, water, or snow on the bridge, your jet sled or yourself isn't sliding off the bridge. And then here's some pictures of the old bridge. See very neat repairs. The building process. So the first thing I needed to do was make a design that the conservation district agreed with, but also included what I wanted in the bridge. The next thing I did was went to numerous Home Depots around the area. For like the one McHenry, Home Depot donated most of the wood for the project. Then I also went to a couple Aces and other Home Depots to get the rest of the specialty tools and the rest of the materials. Another, Ridgefield Flooring was a vital role in my project. They took delivery of the material and also with their expertise helped me bridge. And then the next thing was the day of 20th. We encountered our first, difficulties. There's a tree over the trail that we had to clear. So that was an unexpected obstacle we had. The next thing was the removal of the existing bridge. Many hands make light work. There was a lot of volunteers there. There was at least 30 volunteers that helped that really came that day. And then the next thing was the installation of the new bridge. And here are pictures of us disassembling and building the bridge. You can see there's a lot of people there.
Did you build the bridge off-site and then haul it in?
No, we built it over the creek. See the trailer with all the wood, and then just disassembled it.
This was on the Hebron Trail.
Yeah, the Hebron to get to zone 2.
Hebron Peatlands.
Yeah, Hebron Peatlands. And then I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity for myself and my family and my troop.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you, Evan.
Thank you, Evan.
Well, it's hard to follow that.
All right. Well, good evening. Tonight I'll be giving you a brief overview of the 2025 hunting program, starting with highlights from the 2025 season, as well as recommendations for 2026. And what we're gonna need from you tonight is any discussion, questions and support for the recommended changes for, the program for 2026 and consensus to develop the 2026 hunting directives, which you will see at next month's. So starting with the highlights, there was a record deer harvest this year with a total of 291 harvested, and that's a 16% increase from 2024 season. Since the Illinois Department of Natural Resources is no longer managing for chronic wasting disease in McHenry County due to the sustained prevalence of CWD, last year we modified the preference points rules to provide a 0.5 point for male deer harvest to incentivize a harvest for the purpose of disease management. And so I think that rule change could have contributed to the increase in harvest that we saw, as well as well, never mind. We also saw record revenues this year, and you can find the financial analysis on page 6 of the hunting report. But we had $70,770 for program revenue and about $8,000 in direct expenses and $40,000 for indirect expenses toward staff time and benefits for program implementation. So that brings us to about $23,000 for operating income. Now, the total economic gain was about $237,000, and that's based on what the cost to the district would be to remove 291 deer. And that comes from the rate that the district pays when we have to pull deer. But it just shows you the economic benefit of having hunters on our site to help manage the deer population, which is necessary for maintaining healthy and balanced ecosystems, as well as for disease management. And that economic gain also includes the volunteer hours. And the hunting program benefited greatly from volunteer contributions this year, over 340 volunteer hours. This photo that you see here is a group of district hunters and site stewards that participated in a conservation hunter habitat work day at Camp Algonquin in February, helping to clear invasive brush from the woodland habitat there. And then obviously Evan's project had a huge number of volunteers. They were there all day long, and so that really bumped those numbers up this year as well. This was just to kind of lead you up to Evan, but he did a great job talking about that project, so we didn't. So last year, we also modified the preference points rules to give preference to McHenry County residents due to the growth of the program and residents continuing not to get opportunity in the program. And so this slide is just providing an update on the effects of that rule change. The graph is showing the percent of resident hunters in 2024 versus 2025 for the archery program, which are the blue bars, and the firearm program, which are the orange bars. And as expected, we did see a pretty nominal change to the percent of resident hunters in the archery program. It increased from 80% residents to 82%. And that's due to the program's preference for partners and opportunities for non-residents to hunt with resident partners. The firearm program was most affected by the rule change, with a 14% increase in resident participants. And that went from 79% in 2024 to 93% for this season, 2025 season. So also, because fewer non-residents participated, we did see a revenue reduction of about $2,000 for the deer hunting program, which was expected as well. All right, so I'm going to transition now to the recommendations for 2026, starting with the zone changes. So we're proposing to add an archery zone at High Point. There used to be multiple zones at High Point, but they were removed to accommodate habitat restoration efforts at that site. And as the restoration work is transitioning now to other sites, we would like to expand hunting opportunities at High Point, particularly since chronic wasting disease is prevalent in that part of the county, and population management is needed there. The zone adjustment at Marengo Ridge is a reduction of the zone to remove a neighbor's property who no longer wants to grant permission to hunt his property. The third item there is conversion of a zone from a waterfowl hunting zone to deer hunting at Kish Corridor due to restoration of an agricultural field to prairie for the Coon Creek Restoration Project. And we are proposing to add a waterfowl field zone at Alden Sedge Meadow due to the growth of the waterfowl program, and also looking to expand the marsh zones at Hebron Peatlands to accommodate fluctuating water levels that we see there. The next item on the recommendations is a proposed program that was fostered by Chief Stewart and the district police's partnership with Fallen Outdoors in 2024. The police felt that that program was well received and ran very successfully, and they would like to offer that opportunity through the district's hunting program. So similar to how the program was run in 2024, the police would facilitate the program for honorably discharged veterans of the U.S. Armed Forces or active duty military members. And they would provide a safety briefing and mentorship the morning of each hunt. And that would be a marsh hunting opportunity for up to 4 days during the regular duck hunting season. And the group would hunt at the Brookdale Ponds where public access is already closed for. The next two recommendations are for date changes. So each year the firearm sites rotate from first season to second season and vice versa to maximize exploitation of the herd so impact doesn't occur at the same time every year. And then the 9-day hunts are just an update to the dates. And then the last three recommendations are directive changes. The first is to clarify the rules for our archery proficiency test to include information on how crossbow hunters can achieve conservation archer qualification. It's just not something we spelled out in the directive work. And then we would like to remove the option for groups to apply for the firearm program. The program is intended for individuals. For safety reasons, only one hunter is allowed to hunt per firearm zone. But in the past, hunters have been able to apply with a partner to accommodate people who might need assistance or want to hunt in a nearby zone. But that's resulted in some confusion and issues when processing the applications, as well as in the lottery ranking process. So in order to sort of streamline that program, we want to remove that option to apply with a partner or a group for the firearm program. And then the last piece, because we're in the process of recreating the hunting applications in the new SmartRec program registration software, it was recommended to consolidate all programs to have a single application deadline rather than right now we have 4 separate deadlines depending on the program. And so just to streamline the procedure for our staff that are processing those applications. So those are the recommendations for this upcoming year's hunting directive. I do have one more slide about future years, things to just put on your radar. And the first is regarding Lake in the Hills. So the deer vehicle collision numbers around that site have increased to some of their highest numbers the last few years. And, you know, the district does conduct deer management at that site on a approximately 3-year rotation. And so we'd like to create an archery zone to apply more consistent pressure for population management at that site. The hunting would occur on the state-owned portion of the site, which would require a joint management agreement with the Illinois DNR to implement, and that's a multi-year process. So that's why we're kind of just bringing it up now, but nothing done yet. And that is the preferred route that the state wants to take to introduce hunting on that site. And then the next one is Bigfoot Woods. So, sorry. Obviously, Bigfoot Woods was recently acquired, and we're doing, we'll be doing some brush clearing and habitat management efforts there, and would like to add the site to the district's deer hunting program starting either in 2027 or 2028, which would increase access and use of the site while managing the white-tailed deer population and the browsing pressure on the vegetative community. So the exact timing of inclusion in the hunting program will depend on the habitat management activities there to ensure safety of both the staff and site users. But that's everything I have. If there's any questions.
I have a question. Are they still allowing chronic wasting disease testing in this county?
Yes.
So now when you get the new numbers that go over just recently, you can sort of see how much that population is still, I guess.
Yeah, we did recently get the countywide numbers for 2024. It takes them a while to get the data for 2025. So I think when Gabe presented last year, I have that data here. The prevalence rate in McHenry County was 9.5%. And so last year's data, the prevalence was 10.7%. So it is going up. I don't know that you're going to see change in the population, your population necessarily based on that just yet. You know, it takes years to affect the health of it.
Oh, no, I wasn't thinking in those terms, but if your hunting successes keep up or at least
Yes,
keep going higher, that's success too.
yes,
Yeah.
right. Yep. That disease management piece is going to be important for harvest and population.
It was a great season. I mean, you know, record numbers and there's still a lot of deer, so it's.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my daughter hit a deer in that lake in the hills, right?
Oh.
So I.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. Great program. A question about crossbows versus regular bow and arrow. What percentage are crossbow?
That's a good question.
Is it common?
We could look at that, but I guess 25%. Is that too bad?
Sure.
Right.
And does the arrow travel much further with a crossbow? I mean, I know
More
it's.
power behind it.
Yeah, it's like a gun.
Yeah, it's my son just bought one and. Yeah.
So I'm surprised it's about 25%, you think?
I feel like we're seeing more.
I asked because of the safety issue. If the arrow travels further in the zones and everything, is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we require elevated stands and to hunt from an elevated platform ensures that your arrow is gonna go in a downward trajectory. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I don't like.
All right, Kramer. 2040 Comprehensive Conservation Plan with a Vision 2071.
Let's see, what can I highlight for you today? We embarked on what is known as the phase of community engagement in mid-January. We have continued with that. We are probably about halfway through that. That community engagement will continue right up and through probably late June. That's the target on that time frame. Then that stuff will be shut off and they'll really start to synthesize the data and come back to the board later in the summer or in the summer with, hey, here's what we've heard from everybody. So we're in the middle of that. Obviously, we just completed the last of 2 community open houses. Thank you for those that were able to attend that. One of the things that I kept hearing from people or in the aftermath was the energy that was in that room was incredible. And MCC really was. It's high energy, a lot of dialogue. I'm going to estimate that up to this point, we have actually had face-to-face contact between trustees, staff, directors from the foundation, and members from Upland with about 230 or so individuals, distinct individuals. That's all 3 phases of it. That's the technical advisory group, that's the stakeholders group, and that's also these community engagement or these community open houses. So that's where we are with it. The next big phase of this, we were working with Upland on designing this survey that's going to be out. We anticipate that hitting the streets, I think mid-April is the target time frame. And it will, when I say hit the streets, the first set of that will be going to mailed out to a random group of households. or sent out to a random group of households. And when they get 500 of those returned, that's when they basically feel they would have a statistically valid representation of the county. And at that point in time, we then will release that to the general public and let everybody have an opportunity to fill that survey out. But we want that statistically valid one first, and then we go to that next phase. We believe that'll be on the street about a month, in that time frame. So we're working with them on that. Interesting things behind the scenes that are going on is Upland is reaching out and speaking directly with individuals on staff about that. They had a meeting with the planning department and getting their perspective, trying to understand that. A month and a half ago, we met with the natural resources leaders in the natural resources department. I have a feeling that's one of 2 or 3 meetings we may have with them as they begin to synthesize and understand this information and this data that we provided to them. They met a couple of weeks ago with the building maintenance folks, Ben O'Day and Larry Nichols. They met with them along with Amy to talk about and share this concept of the analysis they're doing of their buildings. And when I mean analysis, they're giving it like a scorecard approach. And they sat down and talked with us about that and kind of got our feedback. I have a feeling that you're going to see the same thing happen with marketing and education as they begin to dive more into that information and reach out specifically and have meetings with those individuals. So that's where we are with things. The next stage, again, we're continuing this community outreach. There are 3 more tabling events planned. See if I can get them right. Hooked on Fishing, Pedalpalooza, and Caitlin, which one am I missing? First Friday concert in Glacial Park. Those are the 3. They did one at Coral Woods during Festival of the Sugar Maples, and they had approximately interfaced with about 100 people. So it is a valuable little technique that they pitched to us, and we said, yeah, let's go. So I think Paul had asked last time about signs going up in our sites. We do have that on the docket, letting it get a little nicer when people are out there, then we'll get them out there. We're also concerned about that call to action thing. But we just want to put signs out there without a call to action. So basically, I'm trying to direct them to the website, trying to get them to there so that they stay engaged and will become engaged. So, questions that you may have.
MCC, there was this incredible map, the green and the height of our sites, topo sort of, but it was and the shades of green. They were just incredible. Do you know what I'm speaking of?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
How will those maps be incorporated for the district at some point?
I don't know the answer to that, but I will find it out and get it to you. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, they were sharp. They were tools that were used to basically help guide people, to inspire people to say things and give us information. Yeah, they were slick tools. Yeah.
A lot of information just by the color and the shades and everything. High Point was stand out there.
Yeah, it is hard to believe that how absolutely high the center of McHenry County is next to Wisconsin. I went up there the other day and you just keep rising. Now and all of a sudden you're to the state line. Wow, there. So.
All right, so thanks, John.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, I'm here to provide some information that'll lead into 18.2, which was a request that we received from 4-Star to compensate the district for wetland mitigation credit. So what I'm covering, I'll go back to that one. A little too excited there. Okay, so the first thing to kind of frame this up is you've heard in the past me talk about wetland mitigation associated with our mitigation banks. This is not a mitigation bank. It's a completely different mechanism of mitigation, specifically related to permittee responsible. So that means the permittee is responsible for that mitigation, and they take a look at the project as a whole. So the development is evaluated and the impacts associated with that, along with the mitigation plan. So they're together. It's not where you just go to a bank and you purchase credits whenever you want. The other thing is this is isolated waters in McHenry County. So non-federal wetlands are what we're talking about mitigating here. And those are regulated in McHenry County through the stormwater ordinance. So that's the regulatory authority. And Village of Wonder Lake is a certified community. So they're the ones that are implementing that ordinance. So that's different than some of the other mitigation projects that you've heard me speak of previously. All right, now all right, so the first agreement here, which is in your packet, 18.2F is the packet number, but the 2009 NRB land and the district went into an agreement for the district to provide mitigation for the impact to Thatcher Meadows project. As part of that project, the application to Wonder Lake took place, and Wonder Lake entered into an intergovernmental agreement with the conservation district that essentially regulated the stormwater ordinance and made sure that stormwater ordinance was followed. And there was also some concerns that the district would not be able to meet the timeline of development, that development would outpace the mitigation. And with stormwater ordinance, you need to have your mitigation ahead of impact. Okay, so that's important, and that drove this First Amendment so that certain deadlines were met, and then it also kind of locked in the rate at that point in time.
Which is a key point in your presentation.
That's it. So 18.2F, again, that's the 2009 agreement, the original one, which is the parent document. Looked at a 1,400 acre development in Wonder Lake. All right, so with that proposed development, there was 29.97 acres of impacts to isolated waters in McHenry County. There's also federal wetlands, but we're specifically talking about the non-federal wetlands. And with the stormwater ordinance ratios, so wetland impact ratio to mitigation, it came up with a 44.655 mitigation need for those proposed impacts. In order for the district to mitigate for those impacts, we envisioned 3 different projects that would take place. And NRB was to pay the district $35,000 per acre, mitigation acre. So 35 times 44 is where you get this 1.5 number to be paid and to have all the permitting necessary to do those projects within the first 3 years of that 2010 agreement with Village of Wonder Lake. And in the 2009 agreement, NRB was allowed to reduce their impact. So they could modify their proposed development and reduce the acreage needed. So if they didn't want to impact that many acres, they could do it. They just need to notify the district. All right, so in the 2010 agreement, again, that was created because there was concern that the district would move too slow. They installed these deadlines that the district needed to have the permits for all of the projects. And if the district was not able to get permits for all the projects, then NRB was allowed to make a payment into a wetland bank. And if they were going to pay into wetland bank, then that acreage would be reduced from that 44 need that they had. So then they would just need to let the district know that they're reducing their amount. And again, this is because they didn't want to be slowed down. The cost at the time was aligned with the wetland banking rates. So it says in there that $35,000 is what they're paying the district per acre, but it's not going to exceed this $40,000 figure, which was just the market at the time. In that 2009 agreement, this exhibit is illustrating the entire Thatcher Meadows development, and the yellows are the different neighborhoods, and then the green is the open space. Go through the exhibits quickly, but just wanted to let you know where they're all at. Again, this is 18.2F, that 2009 agreement. This figure, Exhibit B, is illustrating where the impacts are, and then also the difference between the isolated waters and the federal waters. And if you actually look at it online, you can see it, but this is where all the different wetlands are, and then their rating and the ratios. Exhibit C is where the district's projects were spelled out. So we're gonna go from north to south here, also in timeline of the district completing these projects. But the first area, you're gonna get an arrow, there we go. First area, mitigation area 3. So that project created 13.74 acres of credit. And we did annual reports as per the agreement, and then the final report is May 2018. So it started around 2010. It takes a long time to do these projects and report on them. Final report May 2018, 12.17 acres is the next one, and that final report was February 2018. And then the final one that was envisioned, the district did not do because we received communication from NRB that mitigation was not needed. So we did what we're supposed to do there. We got the permit, so that's the permit number right there that we got, and we extended it through 2016. And at that point in time, because we were told that mitigation wasn't needed, we allowed that permit to expire. So the totals down here is right there. So you have the 13.74 plus 12.17. The district provided 25.91 acres of mitigation. All right, and then 2025 comes along, and Wonder Lake entered into this annexation agreement. In the annexation agreement under this recitals, you can see all the different companies, but essentially what's happening here is D.R. Horton. If you get a nice look, you'll see D.R. Horton, but D.R. Horton is purchasing a portion of this Thatcher Meadows. Okay, so they are claiming successorship to this NRB agreement, and the Four Stars who's doing the request, and they're an affiliate of D.R. Horton. So that's why you're getting the request from Four Star, who is an affiliate of D.R. Horton. They're claiming successorship to the original NRB agreement. This just gives you a visualization of the entire Thatcher Meadows project and the different phases of the Horton, and the neighborhoods are right here. So N4, I think that's 11, I can't see. 16 and 17, right around in here are the ones that they want to develop. They're going to impact wetlands 30, 47, 49, and they need 9.5 acres of mitigation. So that's why they're requesting the difference, which you're going to see right here, is the district received compensation for 17.1 acres of mitigation. And again, remember, we created 25.91, received the $601,000, which gives the balance of 8.73, and that's what they're requesting to purchase at that $35,000 rate. That's how you get the final number of that $305,550. And for my visual learners, we're going to go through this. Stormwater ordinance is the regulatory document. The district had the agreement in 2009, and that's what created this IGA. And then, because they're concerned the district would go too slow, we had that 2010 amendment. And then in 2025 is where we have the annexation agreement. NRB Land sold a portion of D.R. Horton. Four Star is the affiliate. And then they are requesting, we received this request February 26th of this year, purchase of those 8.73 credits.
Well, my head is spinning.
Remember this.
Wow.
Thank you.
And this will be discussed again in executive session. So this is good background information for us to have. So kind of just put that in your memory bank and kick it around, and we'll get under the hood of it in the executive session. Okay. Thank you, Gabe. Will the minutes of previous?
Your trustees report.
Not 9, or 9.
Number 9.
No, yep, sorry. All right, any trustees who report?
I'll just share that I attended my first meeting as liaison to the foundation board, which was a real treat. As you all know, they're such a great group. So I really enjoyed that. A couple things that I'll just share from that. I guess now is the time where they're looking for new board members for their board. So I have a flyer that I can send to you all if you know anyone that might be interested. It talks about the expectations and has Shauna's contact information. It might be a good time to share that on our end, because I don't think we I don't think there are any openings on this board this year.
Correct.
So if you know people that are interested in this board, but there are no openings, say, well, there's this other way to get involved.
If we could get the names of we had a number of people who applied for board members last year and this year.
We actually have that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Shauna and Caitlin are working hard on the experiences that we worked on with Kevin and Alicia from the Blue Farm. Yeah, they're hot off the press just yesterday. There's an invitation for donors, $1,000 and up to tour Bigfoot Woods. So really kind of a VIP invitation in late April. So that was exciting to see. That's all I got.
Yeah, and just quickly, I've been attending or will continue to attend the McHenry County Health Department's they have 2 meetings that are online, 1 in-person meeting, and it's a 3-year health assessment of the county department. And my focus is our tick-borne illnesses. So I'll be asking questions about that. And then after the in-person meeting, then I will be meeting with Melissa, I don't have her last name. Adams, yes. We'll have a conversation.
Anyone else? This is what your trip? No. All right.
Well, and the budget got approved.
Yeah.
The budget plan.
Yeah. So I figured that would come in her report. So that's coming up. She could talk more about it. All right, and then Paul's not here, so we'll go to the president's report. We've all attended the open houses. I think those are really well received. So good job, and I'll speak back. All those posted notes with the ideas. Anxious to see what comes out of that. The biggest thing for me was last month I attended the McCog, and I was at the historical museum. And I hadn't been to the museum in a few years. If you haven't been, go. This new director has really put in some really neat exhibits, and it's a whole new experience. It was one of the things really cool. When you walk in, there's a map as big as this inside of this table area of the county, and everybody. It's the first thing you see when you come in, and everybody's looking for where they live. And it's an 1860s, I think, era map, and it's really cool. You see, it has the landowner who owned all these big pieces of property and everything. So anyway, my point to bringing it up is the lady that runs it, the director of the historical museum, is really excited about doing something with the Kennedy property, and she's really enthusiastic. So what we're going to do, Elizabeth and I have asked her to come and make a presentation. She's put together a kind of a position paper on what their 10-year plan would be if we leased it to them, and what they would do to make it a destination point at some point for historical reference. So anyway, her enthusiasm was such that I just gotta have her. So anyway, so what we'll do, we'll have her come probably in April, make a presentation. She'll leave, and then subsequent to that, either another executive session or the next meeting, we'll wait and have the staff evaluate proposal and give us their feedback on their concerns, their, what they see as feasible, what's not feasible, and so on. So, and then we can make a decision after we hear both sides. So that's, stay tuned for that. So,
Great.
okay, moving on. Set the agenda. What? What about this? Public comments. I'm sorry. I got a new pair of glasses, and I'm concerned. They're not doing so good. All right, so public comments. Anybody online?
I'm not seeing any raised hands online.
I know there were a couple people in attendance, but I don't know if they're still there, if they were just listening in and.
Want to hear about your program? Okay, I was at a funeral a couple weeks ago, and there's a lot of downtime, and
No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. I couldn't believe the number of people that came up to me to talk to me about the deer hunting program. I'm serious. They know me and I know them. Gabe, they all know you. Brianna, they'll get to know you.
Well, it's good to know that we've made an impression at a funeral.
Yeah, no, well, the biggest feedback that I got was the rumors that the program is gonna be reduced in size. That's the biggest thing. That's just a rumor, and I don't know where it's coming from, but that was probably the biggest thing to dispel.
Now, I've got this image of me, bless me, Father, in the Buster Conservation District.
So they have like cradle to grave marketing, right?
Oh, there you go. There you go. I guess I shouldn't have mentioned it, dude. I should have said it to the public. All right.
All right, back
Moving on. All right, consent agenda.
Okay.
Approval of minutes for previous.
Okay, 13.0 board business consent agenda, 13.1 approval of minutes of previous meetings. 13.1A, January 15, 2026, committee of the whole executive session. 13.1B, February 19, 2026, committee of the whole. 13.1C, February 24, 2026, regular meeting. 13.2 treasurer's report. 13.2A, receipt of treasurer's report for the period ending February 28, 2026 as presented. 13.3, resolution number 26-12, accepting the 2025 hunting program report and providing consensus for recommendation to develop the 2026 hunting directives and program initiatives as presented. 13.4, resolution number 26-13, authorizing travel expenditures for the National Adoption Forum in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for Conservation Ecology Manager Dr. Zachary Canizo at a cost not to exceed $1,933. 13.5, ordinance number 26-1069, providing for the permanent transfer of $750,000 from the general fund to the Capital Asset Management Plan Fund. 13.6, resolution number 26-17, requesting project funding to the McHenry County Conservation Foundation for consideration to purchase an accessible trailer for public programs and special events in the amount of $16,892. I so here move to approve the board business consent agenda.
Second,
I'll second.
Heather?
Trustee Leahy,
Yes.
Vice President Wazor,
Yes.
Secretary Zeller,
Yes.
Trustee Brady,
Yes.
and President Everard.
Yes. Carries. Other board business, so treasurer's internal audit, Sean's not here, just skip over that.
Well, somebody else can pull it if you have some other items in his absence. He did not pull anything in advance, or you can skip it this month and come back.
Yeah,
next
we'll
month.
say that the auditors are beginning their survey. I was contacted today and they used to do a survey. They just sent out a form, you fill out a form, send it back. And this year they've gone to an actual call. They set it up with an email, and Amelia, you'll be happy, I almost didn't open the email outside the district. But I knew somebody was looking, I remember Jim was the name. So anyway, if you see an email from Jim, think of his last name.
Savio.
What is it?
Savio.
If you can see an email, if you open it, and because that person will be trying to set up a phone call to do the interview. It's about 20 minutes. He's got 15 questions, and
And I think we let them know which trustees, correct, Andy? Who was gonna get the call, so we let you know that who could be expecting one, so if you didn't get a notification from us, you're off the hook this year. We'll get you next time.
your turn will come. Now that's it. All right. So 14.
We need approval of the payment of bills.
I'll move to approve the bills payable for the month of February 2026.
Second.
Vice President Wazor,
Yes.
Trustee Brady,
Yes.
Secretary Zeller,
Yes.
Trustee Leahy,
Yes.
President Everard.
Yes. All right, I'm gonna make a proposal here because we've got a lot of more ground to cover on the next item, which is the personnel and organizational staffing changes. There is hopefully you saw in your packet, there's 6 or 7 positions that have been evaluated, and some title changes and some grade changes have been recommended. Also, as a part of that, a manager position is eliminated, a supervisor position is created with that actually net savings. So for sake of brevity, I'm going to assume you've all read that, and if there are no objections, ask for an approval for that rather than go through the presentation.
So is this a motion?
Sure.
So move.
I'll second.
To accept the proposal
Yes.
as submitted in our packets.
Trustee Brady,
Yes.
Secretary Zeller,
Yes.
Vice President Wazor,
Yes.
Trustee Leahy,
Yes.
President Everard.
Yes. And, I think it's really excellent on the part of the staff to bring recommendations like that. One can argue that they have the authority to do that without having, because we overviewed the budget and all that, and I think it's, they're going the extra step by presenting it to us. So,
I'd also like to comment, I thought it was extremely well done.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, that's a kudos to, it's a, came through a multiple process, and I have to give credit that the staff, again, it just goes to the collaboration that goes on and the opportunity that just when a position becomes available, I can say, at least I know I don't want to take a lot of time here, but Wildlife Resource Center component, that was envisioned many years ago, kind of a movement, and you're kind of waiting to move pieces. But the staff got together, and I have to credit, Gabe and his leadership and Caitlin, and looking at that opportunities and the skills to kind of connect, and then how to best still put a promotion, but yet look to what do we need? And the same thing goes with everything. Jenny plays a big role in all the assessment. She has to take these requests in, look at everything with a critical eye. And then too, looking at our operations and more on that. So everything just works together. Andy plays a big role in measuring the financial impact and looking at that. So it goes back and forth through its different review, through many layers of questions and thoughts, and we throw things around and then we end up. So thank you.
Yeah, and not to get lost in too much lingo, I was really impressed with just the fact that their reference to core competencies. They incorporated the 70-20-10 methodology that you have to learn through experience and be able to apply. They had a lot of other add-ons, so yeah. From an HR perspective, that's a lot of fun.
good process. Brought back memories.
Yes, it did.
All right, 14.3 salary grade schedule. That affects all employees, so we will take time to hear the presentation.
Oh, the salary grade, well, the salary grade is a straightforward from where we are with the changes you just had, and it's a 3% from last year, so it's a regular.
3%. I thought we were going to talk about.
No, this is just our schedule that will be posted. That's a 3% movement on all the ranges from the prior year.
Okay.
And that's projected.
And I just saw this week, Wall Street Journal, they said the average increase is 3.3 to 3.6 heading down. And the latest trend is to give 6 or 7% to your stars and 0 or 1% for your non-stars to average out about 3. Right, executive director's report.
Oh, we need a motion.
Motion
on that.
on the salary grade.
Sorry.
It's important. We want to get rid
Thank
of salary
you.
increases.
Next time, consider.
Sorry, people, we forgot.
Let it be written, let it be done.
We did a lot on our mind.
All
I'll
right.
move to approve the FY 27 salary grade schedule.
Moved by Heather,
Second.
second by Bonnie.
Got, trustee, Secretary Zeller. Oh my gosh, I'm getting names mixed up. Secretary Zeller.
Yes. Yes.
Vice President Wazor,
Yes.
Trustee Brady,
Yes.
Trustee Leahy,
Yes.
and President Everard.
Yes. Now Elizabeth.
Okay, terrific. So a few things here. Thank you for those. It's that spring season where everybody's doing annual gatherings, and so we had staff, and I believe there may have been some board members. And I don't know, do we have anybody from the board join you for the defenders? Dave, or were you on your own? Environmental defenders. Caitlin was there. Okay. So who was there? So environmental defenders had their annual meeting. The Land Conservancy, we have 1 seat available. That's on Sunday, April 12th coming up. So if you have it interested for tea, we'd love to have somebody join us for that.
I will be going by my membership.
By your membership. Okay.
So
So I still
put on my conservation district.
Okay, all good. You're good. But I do have another seat if anybody's interested in that. Thank you, Bonnie, for participating in the health meetings and again, tracking that because I think, again, the tick-borne Lyme's disease was down.
Yes.
That West Nile was kind of flat.
Yeah.
And rabies is up, so again, just looking as we get data in the next meetings this Friday. Just again, they'll just continue to 3 meetings. So I think they'll be very informative and it's great to kind of lean in and see what they're doing for setting those goals. And we had staff there as well.
Yes, I know.
And
Gabe was
multiple
there.
departments, Gabe was there, Heather was there, we had
Oh,
Tammy, Jenny was there. So we had that covered. Last night, yes, the county board approved our budget. It did not get pulled during the cow. So I just want to congratulate again, the staff, to Andy's leadership, to those that were there to work it through, to the county board for the confidence that they placed in us and the hard work that goes in on an annual basis. So great to have that behind us. So
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's something to talk about. Thank you. Let's see, a couple other things. Today I was at CMAP and was invited. They pulled together out in Oswego at the Fox Metro Water Reclamation District on reclamation data centers and really talking about their state of the region plan, which was that century plan that they put together. Really good dialogue and kind of picking up some of the things that they see. And I think it's kind of with all that's been going on with battery storage and solar and that, and ultimately, one of the key things they said, the 3 areas here that the focus is, it's power, with electricity, that's going to be something that is absolutely critical. How land is used, which of course we know land use, and then water. And clearly they had some stats of just where we are located, obviously Lake Michigan water down in that area. There's a draw that's going to be pulling Lake Michigan water. We're dependent upon Henry County groundwater. So that becomes the goal going forward, having electricity because of all the data centers. And so this is just a reality. For an economic growth, the speed to entry to market is something that these businesses, as they're trying to work through, it needs to have easy access. So that's really important. There's been a lot of focus. They talked about looking at reclaiming of buildings and other areas. And so because that can help transition. So they talked a little bit about that from an economic development. There were several of us there and we were asked to be there from a conservation perspective, water. And so they were looking obviously on their end to kind of say, how can there be a positive, that can work together on these areas. Of course, we know placement is really important, but they were talking about, reclaiming some of that reuse, at least in their facilities on agricultural lands, potentially, again, for what they are going to do with their on-site battery storage there, of how they can use that water. But again, a lot to know. So they were really pulling out on that. Brownfields to greenfields, methane gas. Your workforce development was the other big trend that they talked about. And so obviously I think there's a place for conservation and we're working on kind of being to kind of build. I mean, CMAP is placed there for climate change and all of that. And so we'll continue to bring that forward. I thought it was great that we were invited to take that. And then another area that we are participating in, the Nature Conservancy, they've got a special Illinois Conservation Needs Assessment ongoing. So we'll be meeting with them and they'll be giving their thoughts and adding that to their larger plan. And then next month, you will have in front of you our legislative program for the upcoming year. And so we will be heading in Springfield in May. And obviously tracking, there's a lot of bills and legislation moving out right now. So it's a lot of stuff to go through.
Just occurs to me, in the future, we should actually invite someone, maybe the board member yourself, to a law and government county, so that we also are aware of just like.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Good idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would help us, because obviously, and we then could share ours with you as well. But it should be for cross purposes or just parallel.
I love that.
I would too.
I have another suggestion. Because land is conservation is gonna be a really big issue with data centers and electricity and everything. And the district doesn't really have the money, say, for land, we're focused on restoration, everything. I think with all the mayors and government leaders very concerned about this issue of land use and everything, I think it would be good for for example, on Ringwood, the mayor to know that there is a foundation that maybe they can also highlight that for any protection of land conservation, they might need to talk to the foundation a little bit. So I'm sort of suggesting that a member from the foundation attend some of these McCog meetings.
I'm wearing 3 hats tonight. I actually was just appointed as the law and government chair for the county to be on MCOG's legislative committee, so I will be more than happy to take that message. That's actually an excellent idea.
You were at the McCog union, weren't
Uh-huh.
you? Yeah. You're just on your way to this year.
And I sit on the McCog.
And also, I would also offer too, we do have the shared services that Shaylin is, and just so you guys are aware of that, and if there's any services that you think that you would be interested in attending on those meetings as well. I don't know if you're a standard invitee or not.
Yeah, I meet with the McCog village administrators with that, and then the legislative group, but yeah, I think when there's opportunities, the more we can talk and do and share.
And educate.
Right? So.
But, these legislative meetings are really important. Last year, we went to DC, meet with our Congress. And, 2 major grants came out of that. 300,000 was the other one.
And then 850,000.
Over $1 million on that. Good trip.
And we'll be meeting with Congressman Foster next week. So there's a lot, relationship building so again, really important, and a past senator here that's can speak to that, but really important. And I think we've done well by attending McCog, working to meet with our, village mayors and city managers, and just all of that is really just important to keep an openness. And again, that I will say the other thing too, we've been working just a lot of touch points from every area of the county with every municipality. There's something that's going on. And so all good stuff. So more to come.
And I'm going to speak up for the little communities here. Because Union, Marengo, Ringwood, I think are going to receive a lot of pressure from your future for land around them, decisions they make. So even though Union or Marengo are sort of small little towns, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on those areas.
Well, to your point, the mayor of Ringwood said there were 80 different projects proposed for solar areas for.
More importantly, even is to talk to the Farm Bureau. It's the landowners who really need to be educated, not so much the municipalities and electeds, but the people who are actually entering into the agreement with solar companies. We need to do a better job reaching out and educating them about, the goods and the bads and what to consider and what to ask for and how to manipulate that. It's not just signing the lease and receiving $200. So that's one of the things I can tell you that we're doing from the county level, is trying to reach out to all the landowners. And a lot of them are corporate farms, so it's to find who actually owns it and educate them about.
I'm curious to see what happens in Kankakee with that tornado. That big solar farm was just wiped out, and I'm, really, I haven't heard anything in the media in terms of, has anything leached into the ground? What's the ramifications of that? Because that was, that tornado was on the ground for a while.
What contaminants come out of solar?
You think?
Polysilicon.
It is,
There you
there
go.
is a contaminant.
The panel, that's what converts when it pulls from the sunlight. And converts it to kinetic energy that goes into the inverter.
What's it called?
Polysilicon. It's a chemical.
Photovoltaic stuff.
Yeah, for the photovoltaic stuff.
All right, shall we? Move into the executive session. Thank you. Maybe.
And you have a
We're just gonna do ice my feet.
And you need to read the motion, please, of what's going into.
Okay, move to go, there we go, it's Consideration, no. You want me to read it? Motion to go into, executive session pursuant to 2C1 personnel, 2C2, bargaining, 2C5 purchase/lease of real estate, 2C11 probable and imminent litigation, and 2C21 review of closed session minutes of the open meetings at 5 Illinois 120/1 at 7. Moved by Bonnie.
Yes.
Thanks.
I'll second. Okay. Ron?
Secretary Zeller.
Yes.
Vice President Wazorek.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Leahy.
Yes.
President Everard.
Yes.
All right,
All right.
there is action out of executive session tonight for those that are home, but we'll come back on. And I don't know how long we'll be in there, so if you come back and wait in the waiting room, we'll let you in the regular meeting when we come back together. Thanks so much.
Yeah, let's take at least 5 or 10, because we got a long sledding ahead of us here.
This is our first group for.
Yeah.
We are in open session. Welcome back. We have some guests out in the audience that have come back to join us. It is 9:01, so
We need to do roll call.
and we need to do roll call.
President Everard.
Yes.
Vice President Wazorek.
Here.
Secretary Zeller.
Yes, here.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Leahy.
Yes.
Everyone's here.
You know, having fewer members speaks.
Yeah, that's right. 2 items, what are these?
Wait, you are mute. Hold on a second. Can we do that again? Can everybody, because it was recording, but I don't know if it was recording.
It audio and video is on.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Okay, good.
You want to do it again? I can.
No, we're good. I got a note that popped up on mine, but it probably was good. It probably just is letting me know that my microphone is on, so. We're not in executive session, so we're here. All right, so we have action, 18.1.
Acquisition of city Marengo floodplain and river parcels. So that's the presentation that Val made on the acreage right on the river.
Correct.
Yeah, that's it.
You have an ordinance to consider.
That was the 260,000. So well, I'll read it. Acquisition, the motion is acquisition of city Marengo floodplain. Ordinance number 261070, authorizing the execution of the real estate sale contract with the city of Marengo for the acquisition of real property according to its terms.
The money for them to spend, yes.
Moved by Bonnie,
Second.
seconded by Nora. Discussion on the motion? Call the question?
Are you ready? Okay, Vice President Wazorek.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
I'm sorry. Are we?
Voting on whether or not.
Voting on the Marengo property.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay.
For 260,000, go for a grant for 80%.
Yes.
Secretary Zeller.
Yes.
Trustee Leahy.
Yes.
And President Everard.
Yes, enthusiastically.
For some reason, I thought we were talking about the Kerry one and we needed to all vote no on it.
The 3 million.
Okay,
It's late.
Okay, one more.
we are on 18.2.
Everybody's tired.
18.2.
What first thing was?
Oh.
Think you're done? Oh, here we go. Okay. Request for wetland mitigation credit, 4-star real estate, consideration of resolution 2616, accepting a $305,000 payment from 4-star real estate group and affiliate of DR Horton pursuant to the May 19th intergovernmental agreement between the district and the village of Wonder Lake and its successor to agreements with NRB Land Development Group LLC memorialized in resolutions number 930 and number 1018 for 8.73 acres of wetland mitigation credit associated with wetland mitigation work initiated in 2010, completed in 2018. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Well, I thought it was being reserved.
I thought we're good, yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's being reserved. Andrew's going back. We're not gonna approve the 305.
Yeah, it's all
Yes,
part of the
no, that was
negotiation.
part of yes, but as far as the specifics.
Okay, let me change let me amend my own motion. I move to have Andrew proceed as he outlined for negotiations to resolve the open question.
Yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
okay.
Okay,
You got that?
I'll make the motion.
okay, so move,
Second.
second by Nora.
Okay. Okay, trustee Brady,
Yes.
trustee Leahy,
Yes.
secretary Zeller.
Yes.
Vice President Wazor,
Yes.
and President Everard.
Yes. Are there any public comment?
We have two individuals in the audience that are here. Are there any public comments?
Yeah, just a question. I'm assuming that the attorney would be reaching out to us, but my name's Dan Fabish. I'm just calling him with 4-Star. And just, is there any feedback we could get on what was discussed, or will you all just be reaching out to us at a later time?
Yeah, we'll reach out to you at a later time.
Okay.
From our council.
Yeah, you'll hear from our council.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Okay, hearing none.
Oh, just
Motion to adjourn.
before we do that, so just thinking of, this, you said we're sure nobody's online.
Over there. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Vice President Wazor,
Yes.
secretary Zeller,
Yes.
trustee Brady,
Yes.
trustee Leahy.
Yes.
President Everard.
Yes. We are adjourned.
Adjourned at 9:07. Thank you so much.
Long day. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
That's the first time.